So it's August 16th, 2020 today. I can feel autumn in the air. It's about 26 degrees today, so it's getting cooler than it was previously. So this is my Japanese maple. It died. Planted a mulberry there that I've moved twice, and the mulberry is not doing too well. The grass, I only mowed it twice this year and hasn't really grown since July. There in the middle is Staghorn Sumac. Pretty nice. I think they're about 2 years old. This one is also growing well, so maybe next year or the year after they'll be quite a bit taller. This rose bush is very bushy, about 4 or 5 years old. I have some dragon fruit which I just put out here, and it's growing okay, I guess. Not too well. There's a dwarf Alberta spruce which I moved, and the side that you see has less growth because I turned it 180 degrees, but well, I guess it'll grow next season or recover next season. And here is my largest Paulownia tomentosa again. It's about 2 meters high at the moment, 5 foot something, so it's doing okay. Leaves are not quite so massive as last year. The trunk structure is kind of funny, but that's okay. And over here is a tree of heaven, growing pretty fast actually. I would say faster than the Paulownia. It's already over 1 meter high, and it just started this growing season as a little tiny tree. And beside it you'll see wild asparagus that I rescued from basically an abandoned field somewhere, or industrial. And indeed it is asparagus. The beauty of asparagus is that they can continue giving you asparagus shoots after the first 3 years of growth, and they'll continue giving you asparagus for 20, 30, 40 years. There's another Paulownia right there, and this ash tree is amazing because look at how tall it is, and it has grown 3 times its starting size this growing season, and it grew in 2 spurts. So look how tall it is. It's like 3 meters high, and it grew 2 of those meters just this summer. So compare that ash to the Paulownia tomentosa over there. It's way taller. Not as interesting, but still. And another thing I just noticed was that these potted ash over here, for example this one, the leaves are going all brown, and I wonder if that's the work of the emerald ash borer, which is a pest wiping out all the ash trees in Europe and North America. But the trunk looks fine, so I'm not sure. There's my other Paulownia. And just a bunch of pots of ash and Pawpaw. Now another interesting thing is that these Virginia creepers, their berries seem to be like ripening, and this was like 2 weeks ago, so I'm not sure why that is. Just a weird weather pattern this year. And on this side, the Paulownia tomentosa that I grew from a root cutting, doing well. Apple trees in the black pots behind it. So those are nice as well. They're about 40 centimeters high, 50 maybe, but they're all growing strong, native to this climate zone, or naturalized, that is. Another Paulownia. It's not too sunny today, but it's the leaves are acting like they do when it's super sunny, and it just rained last night, thunderstorms, so I'm wondering if that has anything to do with it. Now if we look at over here, the brown leaved plant that is black walnut that I relocated, so far they're all just, the leaves have just died and they haven't come back, but we'll see, they should come back no problem. This here is a Pawpaw, Asimina triloba, in its second growing season, so I'm happy to say that those are doing really well. Over here as well, another Pawpaw in its second growing season. And this big bush here, black raspberry, in its third growing season. And if we look behind here as well, another massive black raspberry plant. And it's just massive and going over the fence and into the neighbor's yard. This over here is a catalpa, volunteer seedling. It just planted itself and now it's growing strong. We'll look at it from further away. Here's another Paulownia tomentosa I have. And here are some mulberry trees that are growing. Volunteer seedlings, just started growing this growing season. So here's a better view of that catalpa. And to the left of it, my tallest 5-year-old ash tree. It's already reaching up to the second story as I've mentioned. And under it, there are some tree of heaven that haven't really grown too well. I'm not sure why, but I don't know, maybe they were shaded out. But this I forget what this is called. It's I forget. It's a American, some kind of tree that's native here, and anyways, it's growing pretty well, but threatened by some kind of bug. And anyway, here's another Paulownia tomentosa, doing decently as well. And oh, we should take a look at, well, this is the Pawpaw that I rescued from, it was a pup, and I rescued it from its mother plant. So this down here, these right in front are Pawpaw seedlings that the seeds actually froze in my fridge because my fridge is kind of broken, so it freezes some of the food. So I had them, they were in the pawpaws, then they froze. So then I cut the frozen pawpaws open and took the seeds out. And I feared that they would not germinate because even though they do need overwintering and thus cold stratification, I think that seeds that are naturally deposited in the ground don't necessarily freeze. Partly because dead leaves that fall on top of them generate a little bit of heat during the winter as they decompose. However, anyways, these did freeze and they survived just fine. So I guess, you know, freezing for a short period, it was maybe 3 days and maybe -1, -2 degrees, so just under freezing. They survived just fine and they've germinated just fine. And there's also a mulberry voluntary seedling in there as well. But these are all Asimina triloba. And this is another Asimina triloba in its second growing season. And then over here, this tall one against the shed, that's Manitoba maple. Very common around these parts. And just a bunch of random plants. In this pot right here, I planted cherry seeds that I had overwintered and none of them grew, so that sucks. And I dug a hole about 1 meter down. I didn't find any treasure, but it hasn't collapsed. So that just says how poor the soil around here is. And back here, again, you'll see dead black walnut because I moved them and they didn't survive. Even this one, I got a lot of the roots intact, but it didn't survive. And then there's the Korean pine and another Korean pine. And behind this one, that's a bitternut, a voluntary seedling planted itself. The squirrels around here planted all the bitternut, but for some reason they didn't plant any of the black walnut for me, so I guess that those are too delicious for them. And here are some other pawpaw seeds that I planted, and they're seedlings now, just growing right in the ground, so that's nice. Oh, and over here is a ash that I just cut. As you can see, basically coppice. I cut it there, and it has now grown back a lot of shoots. So plants are fairly resilient. And over here I have, there's the Robinia Pseudo Acacia, the black locust. So I guess it's been feeding this pile of compost some good nitrogen. It was getting a little too tall and drooping over, so I just chopped it right there. But I left a branch to be the leader, which is over here. And then behind that is a mulberry, which is about 3 or 4 years old, but as you can see, it's pretty massive. And the growth, basically the growth above the fence line there, is all growth that happened this summer. So it's doubled its height this summer. And it had a lot of low-hanging branches as well, which I cut so that the plants under it would get a bit more light. And I think it's a nice, kind of a nice shape as well. So I have potatoes here that I've planted just from potatoes that were sprouting that I bought and didn't eat yet. Potato. And this is thornless honey locust. They just germinated on their own from seed. Now this here is what I am proud of. This is sweet potato. So sweet potato leaves are a delicious delicacy. Well, not delicacy, they're just a delicious vegetable that I discovered while living in Taiwan. They have their own unique flavor. They're delicious. They're good in stir fries. You would use them as you use spinach. So they cook the same, but the flavor is different. I would say it tastes better. You could just clip off the leaves, or you could clip off the young shoots with the leaves and have a nutritious vegetable dish for yourself. Highly recommended. And of course, we'll get sweet potato at in the winter. And so that's all the garden update. Again, I just wanted to show you guys something else as well. Sorry, see that rope attached to the shed? And it's going all the way up there. So this rope right here, it's going all the way up to this branch of this 80 to 100-year-old black walnut. That branch was right over the roof over there. But I used this rope, like I lassoed the rope over it and then I pulled it and attached it to the shed so that I could pull that branch away from the roof in this area. And I did it slowly over the course of a week, just little by little until it was here, because squirrels were getting into my attic, and one actually died up there and they were making a ton of noise. So anyways, I did that and it's worked. The squirrels don't have a good way to get onto my roof and onto the attic. This branch looks like it's close to the roof from this angle, but actually it's too far for the squirrels to jump from the roof to the branch. So they're not going to do that. So they're not going into my attic anymore. And the branch has bent without breaking or dying. So that's a good thing. And I could have cut it, but it's super high and I don't have the equipment. So using a rope to pull it, kind of like bonsai style, worked very well. Anyways, so this really ends the video today, or maybe not. I also noticed that there's like a huge mass of spiderwebs here in the tree, and somewhere over here as well on the neighbor's side, but I don't know, I guess there's a lot of bugs this year, so maybe reduced human activity, increase the bug count, which increased the spider count. Anyways, now the video is really gonna end, and yeah, I hope you're all doing well, and I hope this pandemic is over soon, because it kind of sucks when you know, even though you think you don't need other people, you do, because humans are a social animal. Anyways, hope you're all doing well and taking care and keeping safe, and just remember that this pandemic is not over, and it may not be over until next summer. So I hope you guys do well and are taking care.